the people that we're all here to celebrate tonight, and that's the participants of this year's class. So when I call your name, if you would stand for a moment and remain standing, and I'd ask that you hold your applause until we're done. Cheryl Balto from First Merchant Bank. Michelle Vogel. So when you're coming up, sorry. Come on up. Come on up, Cheryl. They're going to receive their object de art, which is a little crystal piece that will commemorate their year in Shelby County leadership. And we're going to have you stay up here, Cheryl. Michelle Bova from HIS Management Corporation.
What does it look like on Facebook?
Carrie Coffey from Girls Inc. of Shelbyville, Shelby County. We had an unusual one. We had a married couple this year. So Paul Coffey from C-Tech Corporation. Danielle Comstock from Ryobi Die Casting. Renee Day from Blue River Dental. Shannon Hackworth from Indiana Grand Racing and Casino. Molly Hart from Knopf Insulation.
Facebook looks okay. So it's showing this camera.
Dr. Todd Hitchcock from Shelby Eastern Schools. Maury Kuhn from Shelbyville Paint, Flooring, and More. Ashley La Rochelle from Harriman Material Handling. Cammy LaRue from Shelby Senior Services, +1. The youngest participant ever in leadership, Shelby County. Julie Lynch from 9 Star Connect. Kian Macklin from Shelby County Drug Free Coalition. Joni Martel from Major Health Partners. And unfortunately, Brittany McDonald couldn't be with us. She's got a grandfather who is not doing well, and she's with him this evening from Crane Works Inc. Daniel McGregor from McNeely Law. Andrew Nealis from Radius Aerospace and Raytheon Intelligence and Space. Jody O'Neill from Indiana Public Retirement System. Mike Reisinger from Ryobi Die Casting. Ome Torres from Indiana Grand Racing and Casino. And Sarah Walton from Ryobi Die Casting. And I hope you'll join us in congratulating all of them for their participation in this year's program. As both Donna and Katie alluded to, programs like Leadership Shelby County can't happen without the generous support of sponsors. So we have a number of sponsors we'd like to recognize. if there's someone from your organization, we'd ask that you come up to take a little gift that we have. So we'll start with Bungie North America. If there's anything here from them. Core Vision Financial. Court and Child Advocacy Group. Klosterman Bakery or KBI Inc. Ivy Tech Community College. It's coming up. These are the folks that sponsored individual days for us that made the program possible. Northwestern Consolidated School District of Shelby County. The Rotary Club of Shelbyville. I know there's somebody here who can get that.
Sorry. I can't read it.
And Shelby County Drug Free Coalition.
If we could change glasses.
And thank you to the program day sponsors. Their individual sponsorship of program days is critical. Along with them, we have a number of people that provide lunch and sponsor us with lunch because we literally do work right through the day when we have these meetings. So Bellacino's Pizza and Grinders was kind enough to sponsor us along with Kentucky Fried Chicken here in Shelbyville, Nameless Catering, and Texas Carafe. So thank you to each of them. In addition, we have a number of sponsors that sponsor us at an annual level. And they are Indiana Grand Racing and Casino. And you know that at least one of our participants can take it on their behalf. So Omi and Shannon are currently looking at each other to decide who's coming up. Mike's gonna do it. There you go. Thank you, Mike.
I'll stop too, aren't you?
Ryobi Die Casting Incorporated. Thank you, Ryan. Knauf Insulation. Major Health Partners. I don't think I saw anybody from Major Health there. She is. The NSG Group. Radius Aerospace, the Blue River Community Foundation, CGS Services, First Bank of Shelbyville, First Merchants Bank. This was their initial time sponsoring us, so thank you to First Merchants Bank. HIS Contractors Incorporated. Indiana American Water. Runabout Construction. Rush Shelby Energy. The Shelby County Ag Promotion. Shelby County Shrine Club. And VIP Tooling Incorporated. I hope you'll join me in thanking these sponsors for what they do to make the program possible. Every year we ask an alumni of the program to come up and speak for a few minutes to share their experiences since they came to the program. This year I'm excited to introduce Crystal Nard, who's representing the alumni this evening. Crystal's lived in Shelby County her entire life. She and her husband are blessed with a daughter and will be going to the Golden Bear Preschool in the fall. They live on a cattle farm and love spending time on the farm together as a family. Crystal's worked at MHP Major Hospital Partners for almost 17 years. She's worked as a nurse in med-surg, critical care, and post-surgical care. She works bedside in many nursing leadership positions. Currently, Crystal is the director of the MHP Wound Center. She is focused on serving people who serve the people, always helping keep patients at the center of focus. Crystal is passionate about her community service, and her faith. She's also a huge advocate of the Leadership Shelby County program and enjoys mentoring and supporting others. Please join me in welcoming Crystal.
Thank you. Thank you, Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, all the sponsors. Thank you, all the local businesses that invest in the future leaders or the leaders of Shelby County. Like you said, I am a huge advocate for this program, and I truly believe that we have one of the best leadership programs in the surrounding counties. So kudos to our Chamber of Commerce for keeping this going for so many years. So I'd like to start with a quote, and this quote is from Jack Horner. "You may get there fast by yourself, but you will go far with your team." As I think back to my time in leadership of Shelby County, in my experience, I think it was a blessing from God, because I think it was exactly what I needed in a time of my life when I needed it. I was a new mom, and I was a new working mom, adjusting back to life with a newborn and life as a nurse leader. So I felt like during that time, I needed a reboot. I needed a reboot of confidence. I needed a reboot of connecting with people that were in my same situation. I needed a reboot to get back to my roots in my community, and that's what Leadership Shelby County did for me. So I want to, as I was going to prepare for this speech, I did reflect back into my journal. Jason had us write down notes every day during class, and at the end of the class, we got to write down some goals, and the idea of that was to go back and reflect on that. So one of the things that I continually go back and I reflect on are many of the lessons that were in that curriculum and or in those site visits or those leaders throughout the community that would come and talk to us. So when I think back on that, I think back on things that really impacted me in the time that I really needed it. And one lesson that will always hit home to me is the idea of 360-degree leadership. The whole idea of leadership by influence, no matter what position someone's in, whether it be the janitor all the way up to the CFO of a hospital or wherever we're at, the casino, you can be a leader no matter where you're at and what position. And us as leaders are here to mentor our employees, our team at any level to be that leader. And I truly have practiced that, and I believe it makes a difference. When you work with a group of people who are functioning at their top level and you're allowing them to be a leader, allowing them to bring ideas to the table, it truly does make a difference. Another thing I reflect on probably the most is the site visits. The one that probably hits home the most to me is Ag Day. It was my favorite. Did you guys do Ag Day this year? Isn't it great? Ag Day is probably one of my favorites because at heart, I am a farm girl. And I see value in the farmers of America and the farmers right here in our county. And I really, it was very insightful to see what other farmers do or what they do out at Bungie and the leadership that goes into those jobs. Another thing that I felt like Jason and the leaders that came and talked to us, there was a trend, and every single speech is servant leadership and leading by empathy and serving those who serve the people. So, you know, you may be in a position of high leadership, but your job may be not serving the customer at the front line, but you're serving those who are serving a customer. And that's so important. Another day that we had, and I hope that you guys had that this year too, is the self-help day and the self-accountability day. And that really rang true to me as being a new mom and a new working mom is, you know, really taking time for yourself. If you're not taking care of yourself, then you can't take care of others. And that time of, you know, self-reflection, diet, exercise, faith, I really thought that was important. Another thing that I feel like has a lesson that I've taken out of leadership in Shelby County is something very simple, but I feel like sometimes we forget to do it, and that's the whole idea of just listening to people. And as a leader, you know, we should really be doing about 10% of the talking in our team and listening to our team members. And not only doing that in our professional lives, but our personal lives, really listening to my husband as he's speaking to me about an issue, you know, really listening to what's going on out in our community. How can we make a difference? Listening to what our customers, our patients need to make them feel better. However, I think one of the biggest things that have come out of Leadership Shelby County, and I want to challenge you as new graduates, is the connections that are made. So fortunately, I have been able to connect with some of the graduates that I was in class with, or some of the speakers, to better serve our community. For an example, Jane Pauley, I made a really good connection with someone who works at Jane Pauley. So we've been able to work together to make sure that our community has access to care, specifically wound care. Another connection I've made is every year I've given back to the CASA in some way. And that, you know, it's been really good because those kids really need something like that. And that's something that came out of leadership of Shelby County. Another connection that I am making is the energy to action. So our wound center is going to be having a 5K in September, and I hope all of you guys can come. And we're collaborating with Energy to Action to help us with the 5K, but this fund of money is just going to go for those wounded patients that may need help getting something as simple as a diabetic shoe. And we want to be able to have a pot in collaboration with a major hospital foundation that are just for those patients. And I can truly say, I didn't know about Energy to Action until I was in leadership of Shelby County. So please tonight, as you leave here, make a connection and make a promise to yourself that, hey, I'm going to connect with these people down the road. How can I connect with the people in leadership of Shelby County to make my community a better place? Just take a minute to look around our community and see what leadership of Shelby County has done over the years. They've done some really great things. There's some really great projects they've done downtown. I know that they're going to be working on the trail. I know that's one of Joni's projects, but look at the impact they've made. But I think the ultimate lesson here is we as a team can go far as a community to make Shelby County the best. Thank you.
Last month, as we wrapped up our session, one of the things we asked the participants to do was to elect a representative to speak tonight on behalf of all of them. So this year they elected Maury Kuhn to speak. So I'd like to ask Maury to come up and deliver some remarks on behalf of the class.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maury Kuhn, and I got a mic. So I had this big, long speech wrote up, but everybody in class today kept telling me just to shoot from the hip, so I'm just going to wing it. That's all right with you guys. No, I'm just kidding. I got another in my pocket. After falling Crystal, I couldn't do very good. So. Okay. So, first off, I would definitely like to thank Scott and Stephanie for all their time and patience with us and help. They put a lot into it, and I know personally helped me tremendously. I'd also like to thank, of course, all the sponsors. Wouldn't have them without you. And the food, I like to eat. And it wasn't like lunch meat and potato chips. I mean, we had good lunches, and where I was very thankful for that. Very healthy lunches. Next, I'd like to personally thank Ray and Cindy Wetnight for sponsoring me, giving me this opportunity. They had to miss work for this, and I'm sure they paid for it while I was gone, but they suffered through it. And my wife for allowing me to do this as well. So, anytime that I've ever talked about something that's been something that I knew, and it was always pretty easy. I've always thought, as long as it's carpet or flooring, I can talk to you for 3 days about it, because I know carpet or flooring, or maybe farming, because I grew up on a farm. But when it comes to leadership, it's all learned to me. It's all new. So I grabbed a couple of quotes out of offline. I looked up best quotes for leadership, and I got a couple that I liked, so I wrote them down. And I tried to tie it in with what we did. So that's what I did. The first, and I'm probably going to mess their names up, I'm going to tell you now. So, but the first one was Education is the Mother of Leadership by Wendell Willkie. And I'm a firm believer of you have to know what you're talking about. And you get that by education. In my field, I truly want to try to bring education to the younger kids. Like in Blue River, we have a lot of vendors, flooring vendors, prep vendors, tile vendors that I would like to bring and educate, not only contractors, but the kids at Blue River, Rupert's kids, people who need being taught the true way to do it, because I learned from a guy who learned from a guy who learned from a guy, and I just figured it out. And that's not always right, but I made it work for me. And somehow I made it. So I think education is key. We had a lot of fun this year in the class. First off, we had the YMCA. I thought was great. You had the opportunity to stay all night if you wanted to, but we got to do all kinds of fun team building exercises. We also got to do a little fun stuff, shoot some bow and arrows. Some of us hit targets, some of us didn't. We got to go in a canoe, do some walking in the trails. You had to have a bonfire night. So it was pretty fun, and just getting to kind of know everybody for the people that stayed, and even during the day. So we also got to do a fun exercise where like 7 of us had to stand on like a 2x3 rug, and then we had the duty to turn that rug over while you're standing on it, which we failed. My group did, but it was just starting to do those things where you learn to communicate, which is the key, and work together. We also had some fun experiences. We got to build a parachute for an egg. If you dropped it from height and it survived, then you got to stand on a chair and do it. And if it survived, then you got to go out on the balcony in the plant in Ryobi and drop it from the balcony to see if it would survive, which ours failed again. But it was really fun doing it. And as soon as like you've seen somebody else's parachute, like, oh, we should have done this, or oh, we should have done that better. But we had a really good time. It was a really fun day. And then, of course, Crystal talked about the fitness day, which was very fun. We got to do exercises, kind of got out of the norm, Of course, I found out I was fat and out of shape, so thanks, Crystal. Which leads me to my next quote. A great person attracts great people and knows how to hold them together. And that was by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. But it's true. Trying to hold people together sometimes is hard, especially when you're in hard times. Leadership is given those skills and those tools to help lead and help lead through adversity. But one of the ones that resonates with me the most is not leading employees, but it's leading those who are down, those who are down and out, those who are hurt. We had a speaker today talk about foster children. One of my passions is helping addicts, trying to lead them out of that hole of addiction, trying to help them open a bank account, get their credit right, help them be good fathers, help them give back to their community, because I'm one of those guys. Which leads me to my next quote. Anyone can hold the helm when the sea is calm, by Publius Syrus. It's real easy, like I said, when everything's going grand, to take credit and be the one I'm in charge. But when the storm hits and all the problems come and everybody's looking at you for answers, it gets real hairy. But I truly believe that the leaders in this room were ready for those to come. I think we've all learned that it only takes an idea and people will come. If you build it, they will come. Kevin Costner, Club Dreams. I got that. But that's what we had. We had 3 groups with 3 ideas, and we made it come together. We did great things together. And a lot of these things will impact our community for a long time. Or maybe have started something that will happen year after year after year. What a joy for me. I was on the Friends of the Fair, and we got to clean up the fairgrounds. So I also got to bring my wife and kids to come help. And so as I was driving around on my side-by-side with my staff shirt, I felt like I was untouchable. But I got to bring my 5-year-old son with me as we drove around and picked up trash and moved power washers around. But I got to start teaching him as well to give back. And that was a joy to have him by my side while I was getting to complete my project. One thing I think that I definitely learned was definitely think outside of the box. There's all kinds of ways to look at different scenarios. And sometimes we get so focused on what we want to happen, we don't look at it from another angle. It's important to step back and look at it another way before we give an answer. And lastly, never let your emotions override your intelligence. That was from one of my girlfriend's dad's way back. It's always stuck with me because it's really easy to get worked up in those situations. It's really easy to lose your cool, but there's a lot of people looking at you and expecting to do what you do. So just never lose your cool. And that was an honor to be elected by my class to speak on their behalf. We had great people. Everybody would have been a great representative. Thank you very much.
Class of 2021, I think you picked a good representative if you speak tonight. One of the hallmarks of Leadership Shelby County is a project that each of the class members are asked to participate in. This year we had 3 teams that each had diverse and unique projects, and we're going to have a chance to hear about it. You know, the project is a number of things for them. Obviously, it's an opportunity to give back to our community and help where there's a need, but it's also an opportunity for them to see leadership in action as they lead themselves through the process of that project. So with that, with the first slide, I think with that orange border, it must be Team Orange. So I'm going to invite Team Orange to come up. And due to the technical difficulty earlier, if you'll just say next slide, Scott will advance. Oh, we got the clicker back. Clicker is back. So come on up, Team Orange.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to start off for Team Orange. You can see here, starting with the picture of the team. with our sign and logo that we created for the animal shelter. So just a quick little diversion story here. So real early on, I can't remember if it was on a screen or if it was just on a whiteboard, but they had all the teams' names listed out. And this is early on before we really knew everybody. So I look up at the screen and I'm looking and I'm scanning my team, and there's Ashley, Sarah, Carly, Lisa, Brittany, and I go back and I scan it again. It's like, are any of these one of those double names where it's like it could be a guy or a girl? Either Scott's trying to do me a big favor here, or I might be in some trouble. It turned out that it was my first instinct. Scott did me a great favor because I was paired with a group of amazing women that were strong, and they were great teammates, and it turned out to be a great experience. So teamwork all the way. We had a wonderful time doing this, and it couldn't have been any better with these people here, and Brittany, of course, who couldn't be here, but we definitely miss her. So that's how I'm doing it. Sorry. Right here. Oh, okay. Right. Okay, so kind of covering the planning phase through the implementation of our ideas to the point where we kind of met with the shelter. So developing the list of ideas for the project, again, we sat down and we had a group of people who were all passionate about their idea. And the good part was we have representatives in the areas that we wanted to help, aside from the animal shelter, amazingly. But so, we talked about incorporating the community as much as possible. That'll be a theme that you'll see as we go through and we talk about what we did. We had our ideas and we were passionate about it, so we didn't want to sacrifice any of those ideas. We said, let's make this work and let's move on, let's take it on. So once we had the ideas, then we wanted to kind of get the needs assessment, figure out exactly what we were going to need, and then what we were thinking was realistic. So we kind of, again, as a group, we put our heads together. These are the tools that we're going to need. This is the community support that we're going to need. This might be the money that we're going to need. And as we went through, looking back, maybe we were naive at the time, but we just kept saying yes. Like there wasn't anything where we got to it and we were like, we're asking too much of ourselves or the community or our sponsors or whoever. We just kept saying, yeah, we can do that. Let's do it. Let's do it. So again, that was all part of 2 and 3 there, kind of determining what project we were going to pursue. And we did decide, we wanted to help the animal shelter. We wanted Girls Inc. to be involved. And we wanted the community. So COVID fought us every step of the way, and I'm sure everybody went through that. There were issues that would come up fairly continuously where COVID would try to push back at you and keep you from doing something, but we were able to fight through that and make it work and adapt, like I'm sure, again, all the teams had to do. So then lastly was kind of meeting with the shelter to determine the scope of the project, and that's when things really locked in for us. The team at the shelter is hands down just incredible people. And once we got to know them and we started to look at what their needs were, there was no doubt that we picked the right project. And then again, in involving the community, we knew the support that we would get for the animals, obviously a hugely popular cause across the board. And then working with Girls Inc., a great organization, one that's gotten so much bigger and better over the years that I've lived here. Just the building alone, much less what goes on inside of it, is amazing now. So we really felt like, yeah, we found our calling and this is what we're gonna do. All right, so the project goals, some of the things that we were hoping to accomplish, and this doesn't even come close to capturing everything that went on, but we wanted to do the cleanup day for Chiefs Trail. So if you don't know, behind the shelter, there's about a mile and a half trail that goes through the woods where people can take their animals to kind of get to know them, take them for a walk and decide about if they want to adopt them or not. So that was an area that we wanted to tackle after talking to the shelter team and learning what a big project that is and how important it is to them. Adoption packets, that's kind of where Girls Inc. Got involved in making these adoption packets for us. We wanted to leave a lasting legacy with the shelter. So having these packets to give away to newly adopting parents that are taking their fur babies home with them, to have that packet with them where you don't have to go buy a bunch of stuff when you get your new pet. We had benches that were donated from a handful of locations, and you'll see those sponsors or teammates of ours really later in the slides. We wanted to supply tools that would stay behind with the shelter when we were done, leaf blowers and tree trimmers and rakes, and just again wanting to leave a legacy with the shelter that we would, continue to help them even when we walked away from the project. Logo and signage. We were able to work with the shelter and create a logo, and I think that is something that we are really proud of as a team. It's something that will definitely endure. Again, that was in the initial slide. The sign was amazing, and Ashley and Brittany played a huge part in getting that created for us. It's really great. And then lastly, raising the additional funds to help cover and vet bills and some of the other charges and needs of the shelter. Again, so that when we walked away, it wasn't just over and they picked the ball back up. They're able to kind of live on through some of the things that we left for them. So that was really that worked out great for us. So, Sarah.
All right, so we had a project, we had a pretty large scope of things that we wanted to do. So we knew we needed help, we needed money to do all of those things. So we developed a donation flyer and put out donation boxes at Rural King, at Ryobi. Our original idea for the care packages was to take items that were donated at Rural King or Ryobi or some local churches, and then take those items and give them to Girls Inc. to put a kit together. COVID didn't really allow for a lot of that to happen, so we decided to go more into fundraising mode. And so my kind of right idea, he and I both work at Ryobi, and we're like, what if we asked to do a payroll deduction? And Ryobi really stepped up. We raised in February, you could choose whatever dollar amount you wanted to donate from your paycheck, which most employees, that's 2 paychecks. And we raised, just in the month of February, just under $4,000 from Ryobi employees. So that really kicked us off. We sent letters out, snail mail, to just people who had participated in sponsoring leadership days that were chamber members, and we got donations through that as well. And so we did that in order to reach our goal and get stuff together for the shelter. So part of our incentive to get employees to donate was Mike's like, I have a $25 Starbucks card. I reached out to Putters at St. Paul Tavern. They donated a $25 gift card, and we as a team kicked in a $100 gift card. And so we had several winners, and then we also had winners that came to the volunteer day that were from Ryobi and from other in the community that won. Some other families that came for the volunteer day, won a prize, and just donated it outright back to the shelter. So we did give some incentives, but a lot of them just went straight back to the shelter. It just really showed the type of people that really invested in this project. We also had great publicity. Stephanie did a great job reaching out to and giving us contacts to reach out to the Addison Times, to the Shelbyville News. So we had, prior to our actual cleanup day, we had things going out. There was things on the radio through the chamber chat, and our flyers and donation boxes as well. But Facebook and social media was a great tool for us in getting people in to invest in this and to show up for this project. The animal shelter itself's Facebook page has tons of followers, and we had them also advertise for us, and that really helped us out.
So yeah, we had several donations that were given to us for this project. Just a couple of them that are highlighted here. Markham's Welding and Steel Processing, Crane Works, Custom Coatings. They helped with the signs, the benches, donating the coating for the color coding for the signs with the new logo that's pictured here. And also Custom Creations USA donated these plaques, which is the second photo here. We were able to donate 15 of these plaques, smaller ones and one larger one for the shelter to use in any way that they need to. So for future events that they may have placed around their building, however they choose. Also, some other donations that we received is we really, like Leah said, we wanted to reach out to the community and get the community involved. So I had reached out to the schools, all schools in Shelby County, to see if anyone would like to partner for this project. We are very thankful that Blue River Career Programs, the construction department, and Southwestern High School, their ag department, they were gracious enough to build us 3 benches total that we put along the walking trail. And then also Crane Works made these 2 benches. Yeah, you can see up there, it has a cat and a dog. They're very elaborate. They're beautiful. So we have 5 benches altogether for indoor and outdoor. Girls Inc. So I do work at Girls Inc. So when we started developing this project, I knew that I wanted to get our kiddos involved. You know, at Girls Inc. we love to get the kids giving back to the community, and of course they love animals. So I knew this was perfect. We took all of the items that we got donated, and we had the girls put them together for us. So here you see them. They were making cat and dog toys, taking all the items and assembling the packages. They had a blast. And here's the girls making the packages. We made 180 adoption packages. So we made 90 for cats and 90 for dogs. Some of the items that were included in the packages for the cats, there's a litter box, a color, cat toy, food and water bowl. And then for the dogs, there's color, a leash, some treats, and a toy in there as well. So
one of the other things we wanted to do is that I know as being the first time animal lover or owner, you don't know where to start or what to do. So we created a information pamphlet. In that pamphlet, it was started off with this basic information about the shelter hours, just in case. Microchipping is for what to do when your pet's lost. We also did local veterinarians in the area, the local 24-hour vets. Vaccine schedules, because older dogs, yeah, you only go once a year, monthly shots, but with puppies and kittens, there's a lot more to it. We also did, the household dangers. Some of us don't realize, you play with the cat toys all day long, but leaving them out unattended is very dangerous. They can choke and get tangled. Recliners. Cats and puppies love getting underneath them, but you need to watch out because if you put it down, things you don't think about. The other thing is we did take the local pet attractions in the area. They do a Halloween event at the animal shelter. We also redid the trail map, so that you guys know more about what's going on at the shelter as well. Go to the next slide. And then here is all the donations that we got that were not included in our adoption kits. These went straight to the shelter for the shelter to use for the animals or their fosters. So you're fortunate enough to be able to do that as well. And then these signs were made for us. We also, the animal shelter created names for the trails. So as you see here, some of the names they came up with Shepherd's Way, Possum Trot, and I think there's Tetanus Trail too, right? Tetanus Hill. So, and that was just some way. Before then, they weren't labeled very clearly. So we created this map so that people knew where they were going on the trail.
Right, so the day of our cleanup came March 20th. We were not quite sure how many people were going to come, but before that, we did a couple walkthroughs with the animal shelter. We wanted to figure out what needed to be done, what supplies we were going to need. We knew there were some fallen trees on the trail, so we were going to need some chainsaws, clear those. And so I'm just going to go through a couple of slides showing you before and after. So the play areas needed some cleanup and paint. The trail, we needed to remove ash, debris, fallen trees, things like that. Clean up these log houses. So these are some of the before pictures. This is the before and after of the trail. So if you notice the on the right, the lining, those were actually fallen trees that we cleaned up on that day. And then the guys hauled them back up the hill and line. They used some stumps and logs to line the trail. Before and after of the play areas. So we had all ages show up on the day of. So we had young kids, teenage kids, adults, and so we kind of set up some zones and assigned tasks accordingly. So some people were manning chainsaws, some people were raking the trail, some people were painting. So there's before and after there. Here, I mean, it was beautiful, kind of beautiful day. The weather was beautiful. Had about 30 to 40 volunteers. So staining, installing benches. One of the tasks we weren't originally planning to do on the day of was there's a giant deck that Keith built that one of the trails leads up to. And so it's like stairs down, a large deck, and then more stairs down. So Showing Little Paint and flooring and more donated to us outright paint and stain. And so we had enough to do everything we needed to do. And by 10 o'clock, we were done with most of the trail. So we then all went to staining this giant deck, as you will see here. So it was a pretty big project. So we worked from 8 a.m. to noon. And with the amount of support we had from the community, we got everything done and more. People would finish a task and come up and say, what can I do next? And so it was a great day. Everyone came willing to work, and we really appreciated it. So here's more of the decking. Mike made a chainsaw.
Just some of the publicity and again that we received after the cleanup day. We just had some great support. We were able to be in the Addison Times, the Shelbyville newspaper. The shelter was just a wonderful partner to work with, and they posted stuff regularly about our project and kept us up to date. Just a little bit of that. Here's some of our goals, which is what we were actually able to do. So our goal was to raise about $5,000. We ended up raising $4,982 in cash donations. But we ended up with about $8,200 in like-kind donations, which we're really proud of, all of our partners and our sponsors that worked with us on that. That really exceeded our expectations. Total adoption packages were 180, and then we had about 35 to 40 volunteers that day. The shelter's been great on keeping in touch with us after the fact, so they've been sending us pictures of new adopted parents and their new pets and the kids that they're giving out with them. They even said one of the little girls was so excited she came, she got a cat. She was so excited she got to get a cat that day, but she got extra stuff too that she got to take home, and she was just really excited. Chris and Keith and the whole team there have just been wonderful and very appreciative of all that. And we just really want to thank our sponsors. Again, without our sponsors, that $8,000 in like-kind donations, we wouldn't have been able to do this project at all. So we've listed all of our sponsors out there. Very thankful to each and every one of you.
Go to the next slide, Scott. Next up is the fitness lab. So I'd ask that group to come up to present your project.
Nice graphics.
Thank you everyone for being here. It is my pleasure to announce the Fitness Smile team. We were originally Shelby County, but based on our projects, we've renamed ourselves to the Fitness Smile team. We have Danielle Comstock, Joey Martzell. We have Kian Macklin in the back. We have Julie Lynch. We have Drew Nealance, Paul Coffey, and Dr. Todd Hitchcock. I'm going to let Todd walk you through how we decided to set up our project and get rolling with it.
Okay, so I guess, you know, as is the case for all the groups, you take a whole bunch of people who don't know each other and tell them they're going to do this project. And then you couple that with the fact that I don't think any of us had an idea that we were really like dead set, this has to be it. So we kind of started with talking about things that we were interested in and having some discussions. I remember sitting at the cafeteria tables at the Flat Rock Center and kind of debating back and forth about, you know, a couple of us like this idea, a couple of us like this idea. At the end of the day, we kind of took a vote on what our top ones were, and that's how we decided on the Fitness Smile project. So we felt like it was a good project because we felt like it was sustainable and it's something that would provide a service to the community for years to come. So we felt like, hey, that'd be something where we could actually leave a mark, leave a legacy. We already talked about how we talked about some of the possibilities. We did have consensus, and that was what was great about our group. As soon as we took that vote and we decided what we were going to do, I didn't ever hear anybody say, well, I wish we would have done this project, or I really wanted to do this. So we were all on top of it from the beginning. We talked about our communication channels. We had some interesting text threads. I won't say who, but we did learn about some secret passions and WWE wrestling. I don't know. So then we talked about roles. We had a great deal of support for one another as people felt things that they were good at. We tried to fit them into that and then move forward in those roles. And then each member had specific tasks that we were given to carry out throughout the project. So great team effort. It was a great fun for me to be a part of, and really enjoyed working with everybody.
So like Todd spoke about, we decided on the Fitness Mile and installing equipment along the Blue River Trail. If you've never been out there, you should go. We decided to use the first mile of the trail, but they're expanding it. And actually we learned through Shelby County that they're taking it out past Kanawha and going towards 74. So there are a lot of people out there on that trail every day. And we decided to try to install something that will give them a little bit more exercise or a little switch up to their exercise, whether they're out there walking, running, skating, whatever they're doing. So we met with the Parks Department, Karen Martin and her staff at one of the meetings and explained to them our ideas and asked for their suggestions and their buy-in, and they agreed to it. They did want to, they made some recommendations on certain equipment they would like to see installed along the trail. So we walked the trail together with Karen Martin and picked out certain locations that we both came into agreement on to install the equipment along that first mile of the trail. And you can see the trail there in that slide.
All right, so a big portion of my part of the project was the research and planning and identifying suppliers and people that we can actually get, vendors that would help us with the equipment, because there's a lot more than just purchasing the equipment. There's installation materials that you need, and all of those things that kind of go with it as well. There's legalities, the liabilities and such. So talking with Karen and kind of getting their input and getting their okay and their blessing to do this was a big step in pushing us to the finish line. We really wanted to find something that was top quality stuff. We did get one quote that was $100,000. I did not tell them that we had $1,000. Sometimes you just don't show your cards and you just kind of work through the negotiations. That's kind of what I was doing. Called a few others when I got that number. So we had 4 different vendors that really spoke to us, and then one of them was local, and they gave us an outstanding price. And she called me and she said, Drew, I can get you those 5 to 10 pieces. I can do it for 12 months. Little do we know, I look at these people and I don't believe in every one of them. I look in their eyes and I can tell they're going to push to get that money. So I just kind of bid in it. I told her I had 8, and somehow we wound up getting 8. I didn't believe that, but I told her I had $8,000, and she was able to really push to give us that. And a big portion of was Karen and you guys accepting the installation part. I think that was really the deal breaker. If we didn't have that, I'm not sure we would have been able to get to that finish line or even get close to those 5 to 10 pieces. So the biggest part was we had a big list of all the pieces that we could get. So we had a much larger quote. We kind of whittled that down so that we could get into our budget. We really wanted to get 5 to 10 pieces. We did wind up with 7, but if you piece all of those together, a lot of them are double. So we wound up getting a total of, you can work out with 12 people on these these pieces of equipment at one time. So I think we beat that stretch goal.
Next was, once we decided what we wanted to do and the equipment that we wanted to purchase, we had to come up with the money. And since some of us were not from Shelby County, it made it easier for us to go to the companies where we worked and other organizations to try and get donations. We sent out letters, we told them, we shared what we were trying to do, and we let them know what a good cause it was. And we really had people that wanted to actually sponsor a piece of equipment or just send in-kind donation and put it towards our project. But we were pleasantly surprised at the people that would give, as much as they could. We had some companies give large donations, but we also knew that there were other classes doing the same thing. So we tried to be cognizant that everybody wasn't hitting up the mayor to try and get, money or, going to the same company. So that was, we tried to do it strategically, and we were very successful. And we did not know that Todd committed us to having 8,000, but luckily we were able, Drew, sorry. Luckily we were able to come up with that. The donations, the donations that we did receive, we had $33,250 for the 4 pieces of equipment, and then the donations that people would just turn in came up to a total of $5,000. And then, of course, we got a jump start by Leadership Shelby County. They put the first 1,000 in for us. So we were kind of off to the races and ended up with $9,250. Oh yes, we do have another donation pending. People are tardy, but we'll take it.
All right, so project expenses, we have 8,232 that we're using on the equipment you see here. We shopped around to a couple community companies for signs, and overall Sign Masters won out for that out of St. Paul. So they'll be doing our signs. And then we have 400 left that we want to do fitness mile promotions and miscellaneous things like that. Just, we don't want to just put it there. We want people to know it's there. So we hope to make a video showing what equipment's there, where it is, and demonstrating how to use it as well. So hopefully after you, when you guys see that circulating on social media, and I'm sure we'll send it out, please share that for us as well.
This time it is me. So our project is not completed as of right now. We are still working through the final details. Again, bringing in a couple more donations and getting the equipment actually brought in. So with our project, because we have to order the equipment and we had to wait for seasonal changes where it's a little nicer outside in order to lay concrete and things like that. Our project isn't going to be completed until the middle of June. As a team, we've all decided that we're going to stay together, and continue to work with and collaborate with the Parks Department to make sure that this happens. So along the trail, again, we are going to install at 7 locations along the trail. And also with the trail, we have the mile markers. There was a team prior to us that took on the project of having the mile markers put along the Blue River Trail. So not only will you see our equipment, you'll also see that we have those markers out there now. After we get the equipment installed, we are planning on doing a ribbon cutting ceremony as well. So we're going to invite, of course, our sponsors, anybody that donated, our alumni, the leadership group to come and join with us. And then we also plan on doing a promotional video. So I know Kian has a lot of experience with commercials and videography, and at least she has the pool of people that can do that for us. So we're going to be looking at recruiting people to do that with us as well, so we can actually show how the equipment, how to operate the equipment. We can show off the signage for the sponsors and the donors and say, you know, this piece of equipment was donated by Mr. Means, and this is how you operate it. And other than that, we would like to let everybody know also that there is information out there with the Parks Department. So they're also helping us to promote our team project. So if you go on their website, you will find additional information on there as well. These are all of our donors and sponsors that we've had that worked with us on the green team. So we would like to say thank you to Major Hospital, Ryobi, Healthy Shelby, Mr. Donovan Ferris and family, Pam Deeringer, Shelby Materials, Leadership Shelby County, Drug Free Coalition, CTEC, Duke Energy, and 9-Star. And then again, Mr. Means and his family also are sponsoring a piece of equipment. And then also Major Family and Internal Medicine.
Besides those donors, we also like to give a special recognition to leadership of the county for the opportunity to learn and allow them to make a lasting contribution to the community. Chevrolet Parks Department for believing in us and supporting our project from the beginning. Donors for generously donating equipment and in-kind donations to make this project a reality. Notable supporters such as Mayor DeBon, Adam Rude, and Duke Energy. Our final group today is the Friends of the Fair.
I'm Molly Hart, I'm part of Friends of Fair. When we first originally came up with the groups and you're selected, I came in with several ideas, and one was 10 pages long. And I didn't tell them which one, and I said, hey, I got some ideas, and I went with it. I told them all the ideas, and they instantly knew which one I was most important about, and the one that I wanted to focus on. And once I told them, they were all on board, which I was thrilled with. And then once we went to the fairgrounds that day, looked it over, and they actually saw what I was talking about, they were all in. And we were able to do a lot. So the mission for Friends of the Fair is to promote community pride by protecting and preserving the Shelby County Fairgrounds. Our event was held on April 10th. This past Saturday, we had 56 volunteers that showed up, 10 of which were master gardeners. We had families, we had friends, we had, FFA, we had Honor Society, we had all sorts of people coming out for community service. Our initial goal was to clean front buildings, pick up trash, wash the fence that's along the track, as well as pick up weeds. But after all that, we ended up doing a lot more than we originally thought. So I'm gonna pass it off to Omi.
Hi.
Hello.
There you go. This project that we did was very, very out of the ordinary for me. I enjoyed it very much. And like Molly said, we went with her idea and we just kept going forward. These are the donations that we had. Here's Shelby paint and wallpaper, under pressure equipment, clean flooring, First Merchants Bank, Blue River, Kylie Moore, Justin Smith, Indiana Korean, and I can't even pronounce that. But as you can see, it was a great turn event. We had a great time. Everybody there came and enjoyed themselves. So I thank you very much for the donation.
Hi, I'm Cheryl. As you can see, we didn't hit our goal, we were less than what we were offered. And the reason it was less than what we were offered to be able to work with is due to all the sponsorships, in-kind donations, we were able to accomplish the cleaning and doing everything that we needed to do to make it look really nice during that day. And there was a lot of leftover cleaning equipment and paint that we were able to donate to the fairgrounds so that they can use for future use.
All right, so once this project took off, we decided to break it off into groups so it'd be a little bit easier for everyone to take a role, an active role. So my role was to complete this mural. So I don't think this is the right screen.
Where do you want?
Is there a screen before this? No, okay, maybe it's not in there. I was gonna show you some befores and afters. So once we got out to the building, we realized that it was a bigger undertaking than what we all first thought that it would be. So the first thing we had to do is do some cleanup to the building. And what I realized is when I got out there with my bucket and scrub brushes, and my daughter went with me, so thank you. What I realized is this paint's chippy. The building is in a little more disarray than what we thought. The wood along the top is really chipping off. It's mismatched in color. So we get out there and we're scrubbing the algae and all this stuff from the river off the building. We're trying to get it as clean as we can, and as we do that, some of the parts of the paint's chipping. So we get the little scrapers, we're scrubbing all that old paint off. So then comes into some of our sponsorships like Shelby Paint, Flooring, and more. And so we get some primer, we primed down the building, and got it all settled and ready to go. We reached out to the arts department, Mrs. Thorpe and her students came out. They painted the Shelby County and the big hearts. This project isn't yet completed either. They're going to come back tomorrow evening, touch it up, redo the fine lines, and where the chalk kind of faded, they're going to repaint white.
And compliments from my daughter, Callie Moore. She did the logo for the Friends of the Fair, along with all the writing for the men's and women's. The group got together and thought that it would be nice, since we want diversity in our community, to do the signage in different languages. So if I recall, there's English, French, I believe maybe German, Japanese, Chinese, and Italian missing. So we do have to finish touching it up. We do have to finish the project, but we kind of wanted to do this on that walkway because our other group did the fitness mile, so it just kind of worked out well, and hopefully this will be completed by the end of next week.
So one of our other big goals was to clean up all the buildings out of the fairgrounds. A lot of them have not been cleaned up for quite a while. And so we really wanted to go over all of them and make them look better. Now, most of the buildings we were able to power wash. In under pressure donated equipment and having professional equipment, professional running it, made it quick and a lot easier than probably that myself. So we pressure washed most of the buildings and the fence. There were certain buildings or areas that were painted, and the painted started to flake off, so we couldn't pressure wash them. We actually had to hand wash these areas by spraying them down and then going over them with sponges. So we had a lot of volunteers to help with that, so it was a little bit more time consuming. We had people from the Honor Society to help with that. And then once we were done with those buildings, we did a little bit of kind of touch-up work on the fence. So here's just an example of someone using a professional power washer. You can tell that that dirt was coming off real quick there. And this is just a lot of our volunteers out doing some touch-up work on that fence.
So we were fortunate enough to collaborate with so many organizations, whether it be the Arts Department or FFA, with Master Gardeners being one. So we were able to coordinate with Master Gardeners to come out the same day as their biannual event. So we worked alongside 12 Master Gardeners in 4 highly visible areas of the fair that needed attention. It's been about a year since they've been out there because of COVID and kind of following Purdue's guidelines. It needed some work. So they kind of guided us, showing us what areas they wanted to keep, what they wanted to pull. So with that, we had over 10 bags of weeds and brush collected. We filled up the trailer, and we also had a good amount of high school students show up to volunteer. So we had over 12 hours of volunteer time from the high school students.
Hi, I'm Renee. I was team weed and debris. As you can see here, the front area here needed a whole lot of work. This is the front entrance where you come in. We wanted to really focus there since we were fortunate enough to have the Master Gardeners there to work on the flower beds and stuff like that. We were able to focus on this front area that needed a lot of work and then clean up the debris down the fence row. I was very fortunate to have a lot of really good volunteers. We had a great group of heads from the FFA and one really special little volunteer here. You can see Max. Max worked really, really hard, and he talked as hard as he worked. So he and I made a really great pair. So we had a great day. We got a lot accomplished despite the bad weather. It rained. Oh my gosh, did it rain? It rained. But those kids stuck it out, and they worked really hard, and I'm really proud of what they got done.
It's my job to wrap up this fine project. And Molly she understated it. She came in when we had these ideas and said, okay, well, I've got a couple ideas and 10 pages, I'm serious. She already had all this written up and I was like, it was a no-brainer for us. We're like, that's our idea, you know?
And she already had a lot of dreams. She lives close to fairgrounds, so she sees it every day. She already had a vision of what she wanted, so it was pretty easy for us to just jump on board and follow her suit. And we had, even though it did rain, I mean, with 50 people, 3 hours, it's 150 man hours. We got a lot accomplished. We got the privilege of having Amy Lee Carter with the Ivy Tech students. She was a graduate from here, so she found out what we were doing. She had kids that need community service. She sent them over as well, which was a plus. A lot of the work, I mean, it was easy, you know what I mean? We had a great day, even though it rained. We had Mel Pierce out there cooking food. I don't know if you've ever had Mel's chicken or not. Mel can cook some chicken. He got some orders. I donated some hamburgers. We had hamburgers, hot dogs, chicken quarters. So about the time it started raining, it was time to eat. It's perfect timing. We all went over there and ate. And we had a couple guys go back to work. We were kind of wrapping it up, and there was a couple kids who went back to work. And so we hung out and let them finish the day, which was pretty cool. But overall, we had a fantastic project, and even though it's not complete, I think we got pretty much of our goal completed. So by the end of the weekend, and hopefully maybe next year, this can continue. Hopefully this year, the fairgrounds will actually be able to have a fair, since they didn't get to have one last year due to COVID. So I know they were probably struggling a little bit financially, so I'm sure this is a savior for them. But hopefully next year we could do something like this again and maybe put them that far ahead. So great job, guys.
Fantastic. As a past leadership graduate, I've seen many programs come and go. Many are fantastic. Some make it, some don't. But I think we've got a lot to be proud of with this group, or these groups this evening, for sure. You've raised the bar. Next year's team, good luck. Leadership cannot be more pleased than what your efforts were this year. We want to thank the 2021 group, thank all the sponsors, thank the chamber board, thank the foundation, or the leadership board. A lot of people behind the scenes to make this happen. So thanks to everyone for that. This year was very challenging in a number of ways. COVID, number one. Two, just a lot of variables, people not having jobs, this, that, and the other. But we couldn't have got this pulled off without Stephanie and Scott's leadership and vision. Thank you for what you do. Over the next few months, we're going to be working real hard as the leadership board to get the 21-22 class assembled. We just have about 4 months, and this starts all over again. So think how fast your 8 months have been. 4 more months will be with it. We're looking at ways that the alumni can be more involved down the road. So keep yourself posted to emails, our website, Facebook. We have over 400 alumni, and we want to make sure that you guys stay involved. I would like to just finish this evening by thanks for everyone coming. I would also like to make a recognition for Julie Metz, our past board director. She had a lot of vision. She had a lot of leadership skills and very much supported this when we took it through the chamber. So thanks to Julie. Hope that you enjoy your retirement. Glad everyone came this evening. Thanks for attending.
Yeah.